Is there any limit to your ambition?
No. Because I think right now, if I was to quit rapping and I said I want to go to the NBA, I would be in the NBA.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
That conversation right there, most people hear that and think, what an idiot. But here's what they're missing. Every single person who's ever done something extraordinary was called delusional first. The astronaut, the billionaire, the champion, all of them believed something impossible. All of them were told they were crazy, and every single one of them was right. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn will either offend you or set you free. Here's your problem. You're too rational. You've been taught to be realistic, to have backup plans, to stay grounded, and society loves this because realistic people are predictable. They don't disrupt anything. They fit in the box. But here's the brutal truth. No one who stayed realistic ever changed the world. You know what happens when you set achievable goals? You achieve them, and then you die having done exactly what everyone said you could do. And here's the part that should terrify you. If you keep going like this, in 10 years, you'll be sitting in the exact same place telling yourself the same lie. I'm being smart. I'm being practical. No, you're being scared. But there's another way. It requires you to become something society hates, delusional. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why delusion isn't insanity. It's the only rational response to wanting something great. Let me tell you about a kid from Louisville who understood something most people never will. A 12-year-old kid gets his bike stolen. He's furious. He goes to a local boxing gym and tells the coach, "I'm gonna whoop whoever stole my bike." The coach says, "You better learn how to fight first." And that's when something shifted. Most people would train quietly, get good first, then talk. Not this kid. Before he won a single professional fight, he started screaming, "I am the greatest! I am the greatest of all time!" People thought he was insane. He hadn't proven anything yet. He was just some kid from Kentucky with a big mouth. But here's what he understood that you don't. The belief comes first. The results come second. He wasn't lying. He was programming. Every time he said, "I am the greatest," his brain started believing it. And when your brain believes something, your behavior automatically aligns. He trained like the greatest. He fought like the greatest. He carried himself like the greatest because he'd already decided he was. And in 1964, at age 22, he beats Sonny Liston and becomes heavyweight champion of the world. The delusion became reality. But here's the part that breaks most people's brains. It didn't work because he won. He won because it worked. The delusion came first. The delusion made him train harder. The delusion made him fearless in the ring. The results were just a side effect of the delusion. So here's what this means for you. Stop waiting to deserve confidence. Stop waiting to earn the right to believe in yourself. Declare it first, then become it. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you tell it is real. So tell it you're the greatest and watch it make you right. But delusion without action is just fantasy. You need to back it up with something most people aren't willing to do. Now let me show you what happens when you're delusional enough to refuse the easy way out. Sylvester Stallone is broke, completely broke. He's been trying to make it as an actor for years, sleeping at the Port Authority bus station, selling his wife's jewelry just to eat. He's so desperate, he sells his dog for $50 because he can't afford to feed him. Most people at this point would quit, get a real job, be realistic. But then he watches a boxing match. Ali versus Wepner. Unknown underdog goes the distance with the champ. And in that moment, he gets an idea. 3 days later, he's written the entire Rocky script. And here's where the delusion kicks in. A studio offers him $125,000 for the script. For a guy who just sold his dog for $50, that's life-changing money. But there's one condition. They want a real star to play Rocky. Ryan O'Neal, Burt Reynolds, not him. And this is the moment that separates the delusional from the rational. A rational person takes the money, sells the script, escapes poverty. Smart move. Stallone says no. If I'm not Rocky, there is no Rocky. They think he's out of his mind. They raised the offer to $250,000. He says no. They raised the offer to $350,000. He says no. They finally offer him $25,000 and a tiny percentage if he stars in it. He takes it, and here's what happened. Rocky gets made for $1 million. It earns $225 million worldwide. It wins Best Picture at the Oscars. Stallone becomes a global icon. And the first thing he does with his money, he finds the guy he sold his dog to and buys him back for $3,000. Now here's the lesson. Stallone wasn't more talented than 100 other writers. He wasn't luckier. He wasn't more connected. He was just more delusional. He believed in himself so much that he refused the easy money. He bet everything on a version of himself that didn't exist yet. And because he made that insane bet, reality had no choice but to bend. Here's what this means for you. If you keep a safety net, you'll use it. If you give yourself an exit, you'll take it. Burn the ships. Refuse the backup plan. Bet on yourself so completely that success becomes the only option. But even if you declare it like Ali and bet everything like Stallone, there's one more ingredient, and it's the most powerful one. Now let me show you what happens when someone simply refuses to believe in limitations. Steve Jobs has a vision. He wants to create a computer that's small, beautiful, and so simple your grandma can use it. His engineers tell him it's impossible. The technology doesn't exist. The parts are too expensive. The timeline is insane. Jobs looks at them and says, "I don't care, make it happen." And this becomes his superpower. His team called it the reality distortion field. When Steve Jobs decided something was possible, reality itself seemed to bend around him. Engineers would tell him, "Steve, this will take 6 months." Jobs would say, "You have 3 weeks." And somehow, impossibly, they'd do it. Not because the laws of physics changed, but because Jobs' delusion was so powerful, it infected everyone around him. He genuinely believed limitations were just opinions. And when you're around someone who truly doesn't believe in limits, you start to question your own. The original Macintosh was impossible. They built it anyway. The iPod was impossible. 1,000 songs in your pocket? Music industry laughed. The iPhone was impossible. A phone with no keyboard? No one will buy it. Every single thing Jobs created was impossible until he simply refused to accept that. And here's the psychology behind it. When everyone around you accepts limits, they become real. It's a collective agreement. But when one person rejects that agreement, the whole thing falls apart. Because limits aren't real. They're just consensus. And consensus can be broken by one delusional person who refuses to participate. Now, was Jobs an asshole sometimes? Absolutely. But did his reality distortion field change the world? Undeniably. Here's what this means for you. When someone tells you something is impossible, they're not giving you a fact. They're sharing their limitation. You don't have to accept it. Be delusional enough to look at impossible and say, "Watch me." Then go make it happen anyway. Let's bring this home. We covered 3 truths. Ali declared himself the greatest before he was. The belief came first. The brain made it real. Stallone bet everything on himself when he had nothing. No safety net, no backup plan. Delusion or death. Jobs refused to accept impossible. Reality bent around his conviction. The world changed because one man wouldn't agree to limits. And here's what all of this means. You were told to be realistic because it keeps you manageable. But every person who's ever mattered was called crazy first. The champion was delusional. The underdog was delusional. The visionary was delusional. And they were all right. So the question isn't whether you can do it. The question is, are you delusional enough to try anyway? Here's what you do next. Not someday, not when you're ready. Right now, pick the one thing you want more than anything else. The thing you've been told is unrealistic. The thing people like you don't get to do. And commit to it for 10 years. Not 6 months, not let's see how it goes. 10 years. Because here's what's going to happen. Year 1 to 3, nothing. You'll feel stupid. Everyone will tell you to quit. Year 4 to 6, still nothing. Logically, you should stop. This is where most people do. Year 7 to 10, You're still here. You've developed skill. You're becoming inevitable. And somewhere in that decade, probably when you least expect it, the exponential spike hits. But only if you're still fucking there. So here's your challenge. Drop a comment right now. Tell me the one delusional thing you're committing to. Say it publicly. Make it real, because delusion only works if you actually do it. And if you need more fuel for your delusion, more breakdowns of how impossible things become possible, there's more coming. We're building an army of delusional people here. You're early. Get in. Final truth. You're going to die one day. You can die having been realistic, reasonable, and totally forgettable. Or you can die having chased something impossible and maybe, just maybe, caught it. The world doesn't need more rational people. It needs more delusional ones. Be delusional. Work like you're insane. Stay longer than everyone else. And watch what becomes inevitable.